You ever do that thing in VR where you reach out to grab something and your hand just ghosts right through it? You can see it, you can hear the world around it, but you can't actually feel it. Well, today, we're diving into haptic technology. That's the science dedicated to finally bringing the sense of touch into our virtual worlds. So let's get right into it. Modern VR headsets, they're incredible, right? The sights, the sounds, they can be unbelievably realistic. But there's still this weird disconnect. Our brains are hardwired to expect that when we reach for a wall, we're going to feel it. And when we don't, that beautiful illusion just shatters. That missing link is exactly what Haptics is trying to fix. So what even are haptics? Simply put, it's the technology of touch. It's all about turning digital code into a physical feeling. And I don't just mean a simple buzz like you get from your phone. No. We're talking about recreating the fine texture of a wooden table or the actual resistance you'd feel pressing a button. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with VR's missing sense. Then we'll look at the haptics you can actually go out and buy today. After that, we'll peek into the future to see what's being cooked up in the labs. We'll also cover where haptics are making a real difference right now, and finally, we'll sort out the hype from the reality. All right, section 1, VR's missing sense. You know, for all the amazing leaps we've seen in graphics and audio, touch really is the final frontier for true, believable immersion. It's the one sense that keeps our feet planted in reality, even when our eyes and ears are in another world. I mean, think about it. Passing through solid objects like a ghost, it's the number one thing that breaks that feeling of actually being there. When you can't feel the heft of a virtual shield or the kickback from a blaster, you're just aware you're playing a game. But when you can, that's when it starts to feel like a whole new reality. Haptics wants to build that bridge. So now that we know the problem, let's look at the solutions on the market. That brings us to section 2, haptics you can buy. And right now, the haptics world is basically split into two totally different camps. The stuff you and I can buy for gaming, and the super high-end gear made for big companies and research labs. And this table just lays it all out. For consumers, we're mostly talking about general vibrations from little motors, which is great for feeling an explosion or getting hit in a game. But on the enterprise side, they're using things like pneumatics with compressed air or even electrical muscle stimulation to give you true contact feedback. And yeah, the difference in what they can do and what they cost is just massive. So let's put some real numbers on this. For around $500, you can get something like a bHaptics vest. It takes what happens in a game, like a zombie grabbing you, and turns it into vibrations across your body. It's a huge step up from just a controller rumbling in your hands. But then you see this. A developer kit for a single Tesla glove is almost $15,000. And you might ask, why? Well, because it's not just vibrating. It's using tiny electrical currents to make your fingers feel the texture of different surfaces. It's an entirely different universe of sensation. And that's really the core difference here, the quality of the feeling. Controller rumble is just a simple signal, right? It tells you something happened. But advanced haptics, like the kind in enterprise gloves from companies like Haptics, use tiny fluid-filled channels and force feedback to literally stop your fingers in place. You aren't just told a wall is there, your hand physically can't go through it. All this leads to a really exciting question. If that's what the expensive stuff can do today, what's coming next? Let's jump into section 3, the future is feeling, and see what's being built in the lab right now. Honestly, this stuff sounds like pure science fiction. You've got companies like Ultraleap using focused sound waves to let you feel buttons and sliders floating in midair, no gloves needed. Then you have researchers at Northwestern University creating this thing, wireless synthetic skin, so you can feel a touch from a video call. And of course, there are companies like Tesla Suit pushing full-body suits that use electricity to simulate physical effort. And others are adding thermal actuators so you can feel the warmth of a fire or the chill of an ice cube. And this quote right here, it just nails the bigger picture. This isn't just about making games cooler. The real goal is so much more human. It's about finding a way to connect with people in a more real, physical way, even if they're thousands of miles away. Imagine feeling a reassuring pat on the shoulder from family on the other side of the world. But okay, let's pull back from the future for a second. Section 4, where haptics matter today. Because this high-end tech isn't just a lab experiment. It's already being used to solve some really serious, real-world problems. This is where those huge price tags start to make sense. Surgeons are using haptic gloves to practice delicate operations, getting the feel for the procedure without any risk to a patient. You've got engineers controlling robotic arms in hazardous locations, and they can feel the texture of what the robot is touching. Firefighters can train to feel the powerful kick of a fire hose in a safe simulation. And car companies, their designers can literally touch and feel the curves of a new car design before a single physical part is ever made.
So that brings us to our last section, hype versus reality. After seeing all this amazing tech, from the consumer vests to the sci-fi labs, what's the actual honest verdict on virtual touch today?
Well, the promise, the big dream, is to feel a virtual object exactly as if it were real. But the reality, for most of us anyway, is that consumer tech gives us a really sophisticated form of rumble. That incredible true contact haptics, the kind that stops your hand, that's still living in the world of enterprise budgets and university labs.
So here's the bottom line. Haptics are definitely evolving. They're going from being simple buzzers to becoming a true sensory interface. But right now, there's a really clear line drawn in the sand between the devices built for consumer fun and the tools built for serious professional function. Now, that gap between the two worlds is wide. But you know what? It's closing. This technology is moving so fast. And that just leaves us with one last thought to chew on. Once this tech finally makes it to everyone, and you could feel literally anything in VR, what would be the very first thing you'd want to touch?